And
Okay.
so, for all those people who are starting to listen to my podcast on Burning Man, and not many people really understand the whole concept of Burning Man. And this is a place where you can come, and it's radical self-expression. It's where you can just experiment with your ideas and your visions and your perspectives, and happily share it with other people, because you'll find amazing people out there that are willing to listen, to hear, to experience your ideas and your imaginations and your creations. And it's a platform that's existent nowhere else in the world, unless of course there are these regional Burning Man events out there. Because when we talk about art, when we talk about expression in all art forms, there seems to be a very much of a limitation as to what's appropriate. And so then you have the art snobs, as I like to put them, and respectfully so for to his point. But I'm more interested in the art that's outside of the museum. I'm more interested in that kind of art where you get to participate. And that's one of the key points about the art at Burning Man. It's a participation process, not only in the construction, but also in the creation, and also in the actual experience. And so that's what makes it particularly fun at Burning Man. And so today we're talking to Paige from the Stardust. She's been going to Burning Man for the last 13 years, and always kind of, eager to make her own creation, as she likes to put it, and finally got that inspiration to do something pretty unique and pretty special this year, with a very particular intention with her art, which a lot of us will be able to enjoy. So, Paige, welcome to this podcast on transformational art at Burning Man 2018.
Thank you for having me.
So, explain a little bit about your inspiration and your experience, because you've been going to Burning Man for the last 13 years, very eager. You started with participating, collaborating in some other art form, which I'd like you to share with us, because I think it's pretty cool. And coming from Portland or Oregon, on a hike, and got the inspiration.
Yeah. So the other art that I think you're referring to, the cupcakes, is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So my first art piece that I brought to the playa was a drivable cupcake. I made a devil's food cupcake. I'm part of a group of people called the Acme Muffineering, and my husband was one of the original cupcakes. So I had to make my own cupcake, and it was a devil's food cupcake. But this year I'm changing it up, because I'm bringing my first large-scale art installation ever to the playa. So I'm converting my devil's food cupcake into a space muffin. So it's going to change color, and it's going to have more lights and antenna, and so it'll be my support vehicle for my art installation. And you were talking about how I got inspired with to make this year's piece. I was watching some swifts fly down into a chimney with my friend Missy. We were watching the sunset at an elementary school in Portland, Oregon. It's a tradition that you go like August and September. You see these Voss swifts go in and out of this chimney, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. I cried. It was very, very touching, and the movement is just, there's really nothing. It's incredible. And the next day I went on a hike, and while I was hiking, I was thinking about that movement, and was thinking, like, could I replicate that? Could I make that? That would be a really incredible thing to share with people. And as I was going up the hike, I was thinking, well, how would I make that? And how would it be interactive? And where would people sit? And what would the base be? And by the time I got down to the bottom of the hill from the hike, the swifts turned into stars and moons and planets. And the base it eventually evolved into a flying saucer or a spaceship. So
Right.
that's what Stardust, that's where it came from. And that was like, inspiration hit me about September. So, and here we are with part of it behind me.
So it's very appropriate too, because the theme this year is iRobot.
Yeah. And I don't know if I even knew that. I think it just kind of came together.
So one of the things that I love about what you're creating for us, because I've been to Burning Man, and I feel like I'm a little kid in a candy store, and there's so much to enjoy.
A lot.
The music, the sound, the people, the energy, what you see, the lights, and it can almost be a little overwhelming. So you're creating this space, like, right, you're
Yeah.
flying saucer space and space and everything else. That's truly unique, for the community. So share with us, what your thoughts are on that and why that's happening.
Yeah, people, say, "Oh, you go to Burning Man, you must go to festivals." I'm like, no, 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 no. It's too many people, too much. At Burning Man, you can actually find some space and solitude, surprisingly. But I find, I have, the lights and the music and the noise can be overwhelming. And part of Stardust is, I like to call it an oasis, where you can retreat from the noise and relax on the bench. And what's coming out of the bench is fiberglass rods that'll have Anglo fiber optics dripping from the tips. So when you lean back on the bench, you'll see what I call stardust. And hopefully, as you're also looking up at this stardust, you'll see the beautiful Black Rock Desert sky, because it's incredible. And I'll have little wind chimes inside, so it'll be soothing, a nice place to relax. The lights are not going to be really crazy bright, and just kind of a nice escape, and then enjoy actually where you are.
No, I love it, because that escape we do need.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Do you know where you're going to be located yet?
No, and we don't know until we arrive. We get placed.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, who knows? It's exciting. I mean, you get to ask for where you would like to be, but it's totally up to the placement. Where would they like you to be?
So I like our listeners to go through your journey. I thought it was quite remarkable, because one thing I've come to realize, or I appreciate in talking to the many artists so far, is that it's one thing to have a creation that you create in your own space or in a museum and transport it a short distance there. I mean, you have to build this entire project and break it down and test it, and then transport it hundreds of miles, and overcome very challenging situations, like long traffic jams just to get to the playa, and then all the desert and wind and temperature issues. And one thing I do want to talk about later on, and so make sure we don't forget about, is the need to be respectful, to all the art forms. But take us through your personal journey, as I share your a screen with your photographs.
Right.
Here we go.
So, this is a little illustration of the interactivity. I actually submitted this with my proposal of all the things that I want Stardust to do. Yes, there's my hand drawing. And that was part of the journey. Was I don't have I sent in hand illustrations, and I think another slide or another picture that you have is I did cutouts, and that's actually like felt and crinkled up paper bags, and hand drew what my vision was, because I don't do digital, right. I don't have a graphics design program. So from the beginning, like the letter of intent and the proposal, that was really intense, a lot of research, trying to figure out, I knew what I wanted to build, but every single thing that I wanted to do, I didn't know how to do. So that's been the main journey.
I think that's amazing. I mean, just to go out there and have such an ambitious project and have such a beautiful idea that you have no idea how you're going to put it together. And I was watching one of your presentations, and it was like really awesome and adorable to listen to. So look, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just figuring this out as I go along. And that's amazing. That's courage. That's like very, very cool. One thing I have to ask you though, because I just realized this now. I thought those are two aliens on the flying saucer, but I guess they're not.
They're, if you look, they have little hearts because they notice the Black Rock Desert sky, and they have like it's a little vision, you know, like pew, pew, they're looking up and seeing, oh, this beautiful sky.
So did anybody else think they were aliens?
I didn't ask.
Oh, okay.
I think people knew there was something sitting on the bench. Yeah, that was my rendering of two people in shorts kicking back.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, part of the other process is the fundraising parts. I have to say I'm really grateful and was a Black Rock City honoraria grant recipient. That was, this whole thing has just been like, oh my God, like the whole way. So Burning Man has really been amazing to me with this project. And of course, being a new art installation maker, I undershot the budget
Right.
badly. So I'd already intended to do a fundraising campaign. I assumed I wasn't going to get the honoraria, so I was just going for it. And my amazing friend Sarah Taylor designed this the logo like first run. I think I asked her to make the portal lights just a little bit smaller, but that's been the logo from the get-go. So I started making donor perks and things like that in anticipation of having to do a fundraiser.
So can we still purchase these?
I have them. I don't have the fundraiser going, but people can definitely contact me and I can hook them up. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to emphasize is that not only is it a lot of incredible work to create the art and bring it to Burning Man, but more importantly, it costs money. And so anybody listening in, please help support the artist. Help support Paige in any type of form. And like we were talking before, and even a few dollars here and there, when enough of those come in, they add up. And there's 70,000 people in our community, going to Burning Man every year. And so we all can pitch in and help, because for me personally, the gift that I get to receive is to get to experience your art. And so that's why I'm very happy to spend a lot of my time, every week, making sure that I get to interview people like yourself, just to get the message out there so that people already get the idea of who you are, what you're doing, and then also find ways to support you. And even it doesn't have to be just funding, but also support and help and ideas. And that's why we've created this group, so that we can all collaborate. So, will you be putting a crowdfunding or crowdsourcing site up again?
No, I am done with that part of it. Okay. But anybody. So part of what I'm doing work parties. So that's another way to support artists, is come in and volunteer your time to help build the project. I had my first work party this weekend, and we finished sanding all the pieces. And there's going to be, I still have to make all my fiber optic bundles. There's a lot of time consuming, and there's a train coming through. Sorry.
Can barely hear it.
Oh, good. It's on its way. But just helping, volunteering. There's a lot of, I'm in the Bay Area, so there's a lot of art projects that are going full bore right now that like volunteers are needed left and right. So that's a great way. If you don't have money, just supporting, just like come and, lend a hand, bring a pizza, just things like that. That's a wonderful way to help people out. And then on Playa, when the piece is out there, like I'm going to have some friends come and help me build it. But like during the event, they're, like come around, like pick up moop that's around the piece, or you can keep an eye on it. Just like, I was talking in the pre-interview that last year Burning Man had a big issue. Is that too loud?
No, you can barely hear it.
Okay.
That's part of what's making this interview special.
Big issue with vandalism. Like people are destroying art pieces and tagging art pieces, and it was really upsetting. And there's some attitude of, well, it's Burning Man, I can do whatever I want. It's like, right. No, actually, that's not really what you do out there. And so another way to support artists is to kind of keep an eye on when you go to enjoy the art piece, to see if someone is, if someone's climbing on something they really shouldn't climb on, ask them, nicely, just don't climb on that. Or if they're tagging it, maybe get the paint away, or, right. Get up, flag down a ranger or something. But, yeah, that was a surprising and disappointing thing that happened last year. So that's another way to support art, is to protect it.
Right. Absolutely. And it's for all of us to enjoy. And one of the great wisdoms that I've learned from the White Owl, and I'm hearing a little bit of a back echo over there. Is something else turned on with you or not? Because
no.
All right, that's fine. So one of the things that I learned from the Waitau, which is the water bearers, they're a New Zealand tribe. Actually, it's a worldwide tribe. And what's interesting is that they have no rules except for one, and that is do no harm. And that's the same thing, for everyone else. I mean, have the freedom to be yourself and express yourself. That's why I think Burning Man is so amazing, because it's that place for radical expression. And really radical acceptance. Just accept people who they are, that they're different. And quite frankly, I embrace difference because that's an opportunity for us to be able to expand our own minds by seeing things how different that they are. And that's why the art is so wonderful, is because it actually does broaden our horizons and our perspectives on life. But I want to go through the journey with your art form, and once again, let the listeners know that what's really cool about your current art is that for years you've been thinking about stuff, really never had any particular idea that you were going to jump on, and then this year you're just suddenly inspired. You wrote it all down, you started drawing it out, and this whole thing created. My guess has been, percolating for many, many years. You just didn't know it. But so let's take us through a little bit of how you do things, because I think this is absolutely wonderful.
Well, I ask a lot of questions of my community. I reached out to a couple people that worked on honoraria projects and asked what they would do differently and what was their experience. And I started reaching out to people, like just a big fishnet, like, I'm thinking about doing this. Who wants to help? And then I started figuring out more specific things. And I've got my talented CAD drawer, B. Han, on board early. I saw a bench at a Autumn Lights Festival in Oakland that I figured, like, oh, that's how the bench is going to be. So I kind of would search for images for influence, or inspiration, I guess, on how to put, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know if it existed. And so that's been kind of helpful. It's like, okay, I can figure that out. I think I'm more of a visual learner. But it's the drawing and figuring stuff out. And like you said, like having to think about how to transport it to kind of reverse engineering. I did that with my cupcake because I transported in my Volkswagen bus.
Right.
So it has to break down. It has to fit in the bus. So the same thing with this piece. A lot of things will break down into much smaller pieces. Like the bench itself is, when it's fully assembled, is 8 feet in diameter, but it's going to be made into 6 pie wedges.
Right.
So,
well, why don't you take us through some of these things here? So, what is this photograph here?
So that is I just thought that was really beautiful. That is at where I had the CNC, the bench cutout at Soul Mine Studios in Emeryville, and this was just a sheet of plywood that was sitting up after they had cut a bunch of my pieces.
Right.
So it's like negative space. It was just like so gorgeous. And this is one of the last sheets that they cut for me. So I'm like, I need to take a picture of this. It was incredible. I went over there and we did three carloads of pieces.
So these
Those,
are all the different constructs or portions to that then
yeah.
go onto this. Is that correct?
No, so this is the top of my cupcake.
Okay.
So this will be the space muffin.
Okay.
So that's the naked space muffin. So that's an additional project. So this is the bench pieces now kind of lined up because I just really wanted to see how they were beginning to fit. And that piece that they're on, that round thing, is a steel plate that my friend Ryan made. And that's like heavy duty. It's going to be leg screwed into the playa. It supports the weight of the bench entirely. And then in the middle is where there's a light truss that will be where all the lights come up through. So it's sturdy. It's not going anywhere.
So is this what happens all the way around it? I mean, or is there something in between each of those pieces of wood?
So I have like almost a completed piece behind me. Okay. There's like more, there's some slots that kind of like combs that separate these. There we go. And then I discovered that some of these are a little wiggly, so I'm putting in wedges. I'm actually going to pound in wedges to make it nice and stiff. But it's all slatted, and the way it fits together are combs that slide in, and they're not for support, but merely to keep the pieces like equally separated. And then it'll be wood glue and screws to keep everything in place. And then by each section, as they fit together, they're going to be tighter. And we have one, we call it so we have 6 pie slices, and one we call the vegan gluten-free pie slice because it's a little different. It's the keystone. So it's 2 pieces. So it's the last thing you put in, and it'll be like a little hatch. So those are just the pieces that I got back from the CNC shop, and I wood puttied any holes. And the last few days have been a lot of sanding and sealing, and that was the last drawing that we had. But since then, we removed a significant amount of wood to reduce the amount of weight and reduce the amount of plywood needed. And this is my cosmic ray shelf. So my fiberglass rods sit in that inside the light ray. More swag.
More swag.
More swag. So yeah, this is part of my fundraiser campaign videos that I would do. I do updated ones, and part of the thing of raising a little extra money I went through Hatch Fund was to help pay for the CNC, which that's what the no butt splinters were. Because if we had to hand cut all that stuff, it would have been brutal, really bad. Yeah. So Jonathan West designed, he made these. This is Sarah Taylor's design, but his medallions actually are in the Renwick right now for the Burning Man exhibit. So he's a very talented medallion maker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And these are glow-in-the-dark buttons, more swag. And this is, I did a presentation at the Desert Arts Preview in early June at the North Theater in San Francisco. So that was just to talk 5 minutes about Stardust. And that was so hard, and I don't remember most of it.
I thought it was a great presentation. I love listening.
Thank you.
In fact, I've already shared it on our page.
Oh, great. Yeah, it was 1,000 people, and it was like, oh my God. I didn't throw up though.
No, so, you did great. It was just really raw, original, authentic, and it was a lot of fun.
Terror.
So, I really want to thank you for this interview today, and really want to compliment you for the incredible work and ambition that you have, the courage, to do this and to embark on this kind of project. And truly, it's an inspiration for anyone out there who has any doubts about their abilities. Just go for it. Just like go for it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, put it out there. If you have an idea, and reach out to your friends. It's amazing who comes through, who gets excited about it, and they, you'd be surprised your friends are just excited about you making this thing as you are. So I really am like so fortunate at the amount of people that have really come through, and like if it was just advice or suggestions or, you know, hook me up with the right place to get bolts, you know, I mean, every little thing helps.
You know, I think one of the happiest places that we can all find ourselves in is that place of expansion. And I used to think it was just about growth, and you know, you talk to a lot of these thought leaders, and when we grow, we're the happiest. But it's really about expansion, when you become more, and taking that leap into creating stuff that, particularly if you can have other people enjoy and participate in that process, it makes it even better.
Yeah.
And again, that's what's brilliant about your work and a lot of the work that happens at Burning Man. It's a collaborative process. And as I was talking, I think it was yesterday, with Ilya Barynikov, and the fun part of all this, and I think it's the secret sauce to you know, humanity is collaboration, and what I call, you know, generative collaboration, where we can collaborate together in projects and whatever that may be, just to make this world a better place. And you're certainly going to do that. So I really want to thank you and applaud you for today. And is there any last things that you want to share, and how can people again support you, and whether it's funding or just physical labor?
Yeah, stay, you know, like keep checking the Stardust art installation Facebook page. I usually post the work parties there, or on my website. And yeah, just any help would be great. You know, no pressure. I mean, it's a small piece compared to some of the other ones that are going out there this year. Some really amazing things. And that was the other thing. The other artists have been incredibly supportive. That I've been blown away about how supportive all the artists are of each other. Really encouraging, inspiring. And right now, the way things are in the world, we just need more art. So, I think people can really get on board, especially helping to make art. You know,
I totally agree with you. And also, once again, a shout out to everyone. You know, the beautiful gift that we get to experience, what makes Burning Man so special, is all the incredible work and dedication of people like Paige, all the other artists bringing their creations, and we must respect them. We must respect that art and take care of that art and honor that art in all the different ways that we can. And so I want to thank you, Paige. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker. Prescription for your transformation, real people, real conversation, real success. This is the Burning Man series of transformational art, because it truly does transform us. The artists are being transformed, but all the rest of us that get to experience it are transformed. So Paige, thank you so much.